So something a little different. My Triton blew up, so I need to get a new daily. It's currently 4:15. I'm about to go to the airport, fly down to Brisbane, and hopefully pick something up. So I'll take you along the way.
Nice view. Just got off the train. Look at the f***ing stairs. Oh, I'm so glad it's nice and flat to be bringing a suitcase up. Been walking for the last hour and a half maybe from the city to Toowong, where I'm having a look at the car. Me being a tight ass and trying to save money, did not think it was going to be this far.
10 minutes.
And it was. Hopefully there soon. Happy with the car.
So it's currently 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'm about to leave. I made the mistake of going out clubbing and catching up with my mates beforehand, and I just got home at about 2 a.m. So now it's 5 a.m. and we're ready to leave for the 21-hour drive, I believe it is. So it wasn't my best decision, but I don't regret it. I did have a good time, but to my friends that kept me out, fuck you. I said I was only going out for a bit, but anyway.
Alright, so I'm finally back home. That took way too long. I never want to do that drive ever again. The car did not skip a beat though. Absolutely loved it. It is the most comfortable car I've ever driven in my life. But oh man, it was just, I was too tired, should not have been driving. We got to Mackay, which is, oh man, I don't know, like 600-700 kilometers away from my home, and then there was no accommodation from then onwards, and this was like at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. kept driving up to the next place, which is Proserpine, same thing. Drove further to Bowen, same thing, just no accommodation anywhere. Got to Townsville, I think it was about 12 o'clock at night, and no accommodation at all. Townsville's probably the biggest city out of all of them, maybe, or Mackay. And it was 4 hours away from home, or 400 kilometers roughly away from home, and pretty much had no choice but to keep driving. So smacked a few Red Bulls and kept going. And yeah, so it was a pretty full-on experience. The road was all it was pissing down rain, and the lights on it, that's the only downside. The lights were terrible, could not see anything with my low beams, and water all over the road. It was just aquaplaning every now and then. Kept like scaring myself. I didn't doze off, but I could see myself getting really tired, so then I'd pull over and just get out of the car, jump up and down, and just let it all, like, just dance in the rain, I guess, to try and wake myself up. And then I'd do that every 10 minutes because I kept falling asleep. But I'm finally home now. We got home at about 6 a.m. So I got home at 6 a.m. and I left at 5 a.m. and the following day, and I was also running on 2-3 hours sleep. So not my smartest move, but home safe. Absolutely love the car. It made overtaking quite easy. It's very comfortable, and I realized I haven't even showed it off yet. So now that I'm home, here it is. So the XR6 Turbo Ute is actually a car that I've wanted for a while. Believe it or not, and don't make fun of me for this, originally I always wanted an XR6 Turbo Ute. As a kid, I had a poster as a BA model, the early model, on my room growing up, and then I saw the light of Jap cars, thankfully. But my first car was always going to be an XR6 Ute, which I never ended up doing. And so when the Triton let go, I saw the opportunity because I've always admired them, and finally did it. Now, of course, like anything I own, it can't be stock, so this has got a few basic mods which if I had bought a stock one I would have done anyway, hence why I actually did buy this, because it pretty much had everything done that I would have liked to have done. So this is running a metal head gasket, ARP head studs, it is 1000cc injectors, Walbro 470 I believe, and it's got a bit of head work done as well. The head was all reconditioned recently, valves, springs, retainers, and a few other goodies, probably won't remember. Oh yeah, the billet oil pump and backing plate, which is a big thing for the barrows. Now I opted with the auto, the ZF box, because I will be towing occasionally, and the automatics were definitely the better choice for towing over the manuals. And the one thing I will do to it is get the trans cooler upgrade to just help it out. But I've had the car in my possession for not long, and I've already done my touch with my stickers, which I like, and the blow-off valve went in the bin immediately. Cancel blow-off valves, I hate them. I don't run them on any of my cars, I never will. And the drive would have been a lot better if I didn't have to listen to it every now and then, and it flutters, and I'll try and do a sound clip, but Sounds a lot better now. I'm very happy with the car. And what actually happened with the Triton as well was it was runaway diesel. So I hadn't heard of it in modern diesels because mine was a 2008 model, I think, so modern. And yeah, I was just driving to get coffees and I just had full limiter, no throttle applied, turned the car off, and it just full limiter, it was still running. I freaked out, pulled over, and I was just sitting there, you know, trying to put it in fifth gear or any gear, and it just was whining, it would not go in any gear. Keys were out of the ignition, popped the bonnet, and I was a bit scared to go underneath it because this thing was just revving as hard as it can. And there was smoke everywhere. When I got out of the car, I pulled off the road, but when I got out, I couldn't see anything, and I looked down and I was on the actual asphalt. I was standing in the middle of the road because I couldn't see anything, so that was a bit scary, but I mean, it stopped all the traffic anyway, so no one could have hit me. And yeah, someone called the fire truck, the police rocked up because of all the smoke. The whole roundabout, both lanes of traffic were blocked, so it was pretty embarrassing, but I got in the bonnet anyway as soon as I could, unplugged the MAF, and plugged the electronic throttle body, and it started to splutter a bit, and I've got a secondary fuel filter, so I crimped the fuel line, and it just spluttered enough that it died. And yeah, but it was too late. The engine was completely gone. So runaway diesel is when it ignites and runs off the oil in the engine. So no idea how that happened. Insurance are having a look at it now, but didn't really get the best news. They said they're not going to cover it because it's mechanical failure, even though it's looked after, and anyway, fully comprehensive insurance, and they're not going to cover it. So I did a bit of a Karen and I asked to speak to their manager, so I'm climbing the ranks a bit now, and at least I'm getting somewhere. They're looking into it further, but they haven't told me many good things. So I definitely don't want to come off as, oh, look at him, he's got all these cars, he's rich. I'm definitely not. The S15 I bought cheap back in the day. Well, it wasn't really that cheap back in the day, but done everything to that myself just about. I had help with the conversion and building the motor. Mark Williams, he did a great job. But everything I tried to do myself. My S13 got stupid cheap. A86 as a project, got that cheap. And then yeah, the Triton let go. I was stuck without a car. I had to get a loan to help me out, so that's what I've done. And I wasn't going to justify getting a loan out on another diesel ute, which is just ridiculously priced at the moment and is not worth half of what it's worth. But I thought I'd justify it with something that is a car that I've always wanted. And yeah, they're a bit expensive at the moment, but it's a car that I've always wanted, so if I had to get a loan out, I'm going to make sure it's on something that I really enjoy. So and this thing's on 98, which is cheaper to run on diesel at the moment, so yeah, very happy with the car. Makes about 430 horsepower, 730 newton meters of torque, I think, but very impressed with it. And yeah, Barra of the world. Don't worry, still have the S15 in the shed there, and the A86. The S13 is actually currently away, getting the fab work, which I'll be updating soon. But yeah, don't forget to cancel all blow-off valves, and thanks.